It's crazy how much human design can tell you. Like it's insane how deep you can go with it. The type of environment that you thrive in, how you digest food, how you're meant to interact with others, how others are meant to interact with you, how you're meant to create, how you're meant to dive into things and interact with people. It's an incredible tool, and it sees you.
Welcome to The Reluctant Medium, where we cover the gamut of out there conversations. With an open mind and a curious heart, we want to talk about it all, from psychic phenomena and energy medicine to beings from other star systems and out-of-body experiences. You'll find a great balance between grounded science-backed topics and others that science hasn't quite caught up to yet. I'm your host, Dr. Maria Rothenberger, a psychotherapist by trade and a reluctant spirit baby communicator. And hey, even though I'm a medium, I'm not buying everything folks are selling. I just have a voracious appetite to know more about what I call the world of the weird. Join us on your favorite podcast platform or watch on YouTube at The Reluctant Medium. I'll see you there. Hey everyone, welcome to the Reluctant Medium podcast. I am delighted to bring today's guest on because I was fortunate enough not to have a reading by her, but by somebody else, a human design reading. And I was so taken aback by how precise it was. I was just scouring to see who would be willing to interview about human design because it's astounding how amazing this practice is. This is Megan Blust, and I had the good fortune to already do an interview with her. It somehow disappeared into the ether. So this is take two. Thank you so much for being willing to come back and talk to me.
Oh my gosh, of course. I am so happy to be here again. I feel like the universe just didn't want us to use take one. I feel like they just wanted us to have another go at it. And so here we are.
For whatever
having another go.
Here we are. Yes, folks are going to need to hear this interview right now, right when they're listening to it. So
absolutely.
So let's just dive right in. Well, first of all, can you just say who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Yes. So I'm Megan. I am an energy healer. I have a hard time with titles. I'm like, what else?
Oh, you
I
do
am an energy
everything.
healer. I'm a channel. I work with human design and astrology, but I feel like I'm a healer, I'm a channeler, and I absolutely love diving really deep and breaking blocks, breaking timelines, like really just getting to the root. It's just one of my favorite things to do is help people in their own breakthroughs. And human design is one of the tools that I use to help people come back to themselves. I think my medicine is just having people remember their magic. And so human design was one of my first aha moments after astrology where I felt really seen for the first time. And it had me dive really deep. And I studied pretty much everything I possibly could get my little hands on. And then now moving forward in my own work, I use human design as a way to get to know my clients, as a way to help them understand how they work with energy, because we all have the ability to move and work with the energy around us. And so that's a little bit about me getting into this.
That's perfect. I loved what you said, or I love what you said. My medicine is helping people remember their magic. I love that.
Yes.
And then the tools, like here's one of the tools. Only one, you do so many things, but I really wanted to focus on human design because you know how you said you felt seen, truly seen for the first time. That's exactly how I felt, literally down to like how I digest food. Like it's like, what?
I know. It's crazy how much human design can tell you. Like it's insane how deep you can go with it. The type of environment that you thrive in, how you digest food, how you're meant to interact with others, how others are meant to interact with you, how you're meant to create, how you're meant to dive into things and interact with people. It's an incredible tool, and it really just, it sees you in a way.
It's astounding. Absolutely astounding. So today we're covering what? We're covering the types of.
Yeah, I think we do the basics because, like we said before, we can dive really deep into human. It's almost like astrology, right? When you first look at your chart, you're like, what is this?
Oh, yeah.
And how am I supposed to understand any of this? It's like a science. And human design is actually a science,
Yep.
but it really is its own little language. And so, like astrology, I like to use these tools, and you can go as deep as you want to go, but let's do the outer layers, as I like to say. So everybody should know their type, their strategy, and their authority. It's almost like their big three, except in human design. So your type, there are 5 types in. Should I just dive in? Should I just spiel? Okay.
Totally. Have at it.
There are 5 types in human design. We have manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors. And they all have their own beautiful magic within them. They all have a way of working with energy because we are all energetic beings and we are co-creators of our own reality. And this is the first tool I feel like that really awakened me to this is the way that I get to work with the world around me, that it works for me. It's not working against me anymore. I get to just work with it. I get to flow with ease. And that's what human design is. It's your individual blueprints to work with the world and have the world work with you with more ease instead of like fighting the current, right? We never get anywhere. I guess that's how people drown, which is horrible. So why do that to ourselves? So we have these 5 types, and I'll just walk through them, and they each have their own strategy, which is how they're meant to respond and work with the energy around them. So we'll start with manifestors. They're 9% of the world. So they're the smallest. Actually, no, because those are reflectors. They are one of the rarer types compared to the rest of the 5. Their strategy is meant to inform. And for anyone that's a manifestor, that actually can sound very not in alignment for them because they don't need anybody to tell them what to do. They truly are able, they are meant to ignite fires and go and do things, and they don't need anyone else. They're the only energetic type that they're not meant to respond to anyone or and be invited. Like they're truly just meant to go and do it, which is incredible. However, with that, the more support they will meet more support and more ease if they just simply tell people what they're going to do. They just tell people, hey, this is what I'm going to do. I'd love for your help in this, and people will come and support them instead of just doing something and people are wondering like what the hell they're doing in the first place. It helps them get the support that they need because they're not meant to see a whole project through. They're meant to start it, right? They're meant to ignite it and have other people come in and support them. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful thing for a manifestor to just simply inform them. They don't need to ask permission, which is one thing that they'll decondition from. They don't need to run decisions by anybody, but letting folks in and just allowing folks to feel like they're along with you on your journey will help people start to rush in and see like, damn, I want to be a part of this too. Like, how can I help you? And then that's what really gets things going. When manifestors start to feel and they're not self-theme, meaning that there might be out of alignment, they'll start to feel the anger. So it's like your literal physical telltale sign when you keep meeting this anger. It's like, oh, okay. Because you're feeling maybe that people just aren't on your side, people just aren't getting you. That's a sign for you to start informing, start working with your throat. You have that activated throat chakra. So start working with your throat and letting that all come through.
That makes sense. So when you say Okay, I'm just for the listener, we're talking about one's type. And then what was the next phrase? We're talking about
Their strategy.
strategy. Thank you. And then they're not self symptoms. I say
Yeah.
symptoms because I'm a mental health therapist. I totally went there. Okay,
Yeah, well, it works.
I know. Right. What they might notice when they're not in alignment with their strategy.
Yeah.
They feel okay, good. So manifestors will start to feel angry, and that's when they have to start. It sounds like leadership.
Yes, they're trailblazers.
Yes.
They're here to bring about those like new world ideas. Like the ideas that I think the brothers that did the plane, I think their type was manifester. I'm like pretty sure now that I say this. But the people that are like, y'all are fucking nuts thinking that you can fly in the air. Like that's insane. But they're like, hey, but like, this is why we think this is really great. This is why we think it's going to work. And then they're like, oh, okay, I'm an engineer. I can come and help you now. Like, I can actually, like, I know the materials actually that can help build this. And that is why the more manifestors are just able to inform and just share what's on their heart, that's when they'll get the support that they need to come in and make things happen. But it's when they keep it like, this is what, like, they just start doing it and everyone's like, what are you doing? That's when they'll start to feel angry. It's, I don't know why no one else gets this. Like, this is actually going to revolutionize the entire world. But it's when that's when they have to inform. They don't have to ask permission, but it's letting people understand the inner workings of your mind, letting people into your little secret.
I think I'm getting that now. So manifestors will tell people ideas, but in order to avoid the not self, they have to inform how to achieve those ideas. And that's when people get fired up. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, incredible. So that's a manifester. So it's your partner or your friend or your mom or your dad or literally anybody that in your life is a manifester. Start inviting them to ask questions, give them space to share what's on their heart, asking them, how is your day? What are you working on? And start like encouraging them to share with you so then they feel like they have a safe space to just continue to inform, and like bringing you in is going to be a really great tool for manifestors. Just
If you notice
letting them
them
be
getting
them.
angry.
Yeah,
Notice
just
them
letting them be
getting
them.
angry. Okay. Who's next?
Now we'll move into generators. So they are the most common type. They're 37% of the population. And these folks are meant to respond. They have an activated sacral center. So that life force energy. So they are able to just go, which is incredible, right? They're the ones when the manifestors, I want to make a plane. The generator is going to be like, hell yeah, let's make this happen. And they're going to start coming in and doing the work. We need generators running the world, truly. Someone needs to get it done. However, because the generators have so much life force, they really need to be discerning with their energy. And that's why they're meant to respond. They're meant to listen to their bodies and see, okay, what do I actually want to work on? What actually lights me up? So then I can pour myself into this, because generators are not meant to just work themselves to death, right? Like they're not meant to just grind out their entire lives and feel like they are not allowed to do the things that bring them pleasure. Like they are meant to enjoy their lives and to feel satisfaction, like feeling that juice and like I am pouring myself into something that I fucking love. So that is why generators, their big deconditioning in this life is learning how to respond to others, responding to their energy. What feels like a yes in their bodies? What feels like a no? And only saying yes to things that really feel good for you. That is really going to keep you living that alignment and bringing in new things that will help you live a life of ease. It is when you start to feel frustration when you're getting frustrated at a project or a person or a thing, that is when we're in our not self theme. That is when we can start to have that awareness and bring in your awareness, be like, oh, okay, what about this is having me feel frustrated? Am I spending too much time on it? Am I getting too in the weeds when I'm meant to actually be pouring myself into something else? Or really bringing in that energetic awareness. Where is my inventory of my energy going? Because it is the currency that is the most important currency that we possibly have. And generators are in a surplus, they're in the overflow. So, like, y'all are in the driver's seat. Y'all have the power. So you get to decide what you want to do with it. Bring the power back to you and letting yourselves be your authority. Like, really listening to you is really the generator's MO.
I love that. I love that you also brought it back to sensing in the body what feels right and what doesn't feel right. A lot of people are disconnected in that way. I bet the work that you do helps folks reconnect with their bodies a lot.
As I like to say, the body cannot, well, I think I read this somewhere, so I'm saying it a lot. The body cannot overthink, but the mind can. So anytime that we can tune into our bodies, feeling our body's wisdom, understanding our cues, understanding what different types of energy even feels like. A lot of my teaching is teaching how to feel, like really come back to feeling. So like, how does this feel for you instead of living in the mind? And that's when we can start to feel so clouded because we can literally internally talk ourselves in and out of anything. And so really tuning it back into the body, especially as generators, because they have that activated sacral, like that gut feeling, you're going to get a yes or you're going to get a no. Like you have that body intuition, like you're going to feel it. And so awakening yourself to learning how to feel into your body is going to be huge because your body cannot overthink. It just cannot. When you feel a blade of grass, when you're smelling the fresh air, when you're walking in a field, like you're feeling those sensations, it is simply just the present. And so when you're able to tune back into your body, you can start to feel like, okay, this might not be what's best for me right now. It maybe used to be like this used to bring me a lot of joy, but I actually feel my heart going in this other direction.
Oh, you're
I
giving
feel like I want,
permission.
yes,
You're giving permission
yes.
for folks to change their mind. What? Or listen to their body, which is, I guess, changing one's mind essentially.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a
Oh,
beautiful thing.
I just love it. Can you also say, you said manifestors are about 9% of the population. What are generators?
Generators are 37%. So
Oh,
they're the most. They're the most. That's
okay.
why like a lot of our like systems and stuff. So that's why our systems that we have are very much in a generator world, right? They can really work 5 days a week, yada, yada, yada. Granted, I don't think anyone should be working 5 days a week, but like we can even get deconditioned from that. But it's really pouring yourself in what you love to do. And so if you have a generator partner, friend, family member, the best way to honor their type is to allow them to respond, giving them yes and no questions, really allowing them to explore and giving them a chance to respond to things in a yes and no way so they can feel it in their bodies, like what feels good and what's not feeling good, and like giving them a chance to explore that and what that feels like for them.
Yeah, giving them like safety or holding
Yeah.
space for. These are all therapy words, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Giving them permission to feel into it is beautiful. And then we have manifesting generators, the best of both worlds, because they're a little bit of manifester, a little bit of generator. They have an activated throat and an activated sacral. So these are little fire. I like to call them like little fires everywhere. They're not meant to just pour themselves into one thing. They are allowed to spread their love of life everywhere. These are like the kids that did every single sport and are always finding like new little hobbies and things to do, and deconditioning from I don't finish things. I need, like, where is my niche? Like all of that type of talking where it's like, you don't need to fit into a box. You just get to create this whole tapestry of all these different patches of life. And by the end of your life, like it'll look like this crazy maze, but like it just makes sense to you. And it's you spreading your light. They have the same strategy as generators. So they're meant to respond. So feeling into the body, really understanding what a yes and no is, and pouring themselves where they are meant to be led, like what is lighting your fire. And once again, y'all start to feel that frustration because they have the same as generators. Once y'all get frustrated, it's time to move on. It's time to drop something. And maybe you don't drop it forever, but like you just drop it for a little bit and focus on like where your heart is leading you. What is your intuition telling you, and letting yourself just be led by you and your gut feelings. And then when it's time to go back, you can go back to it. But it's like giving it, again, kind of like generators, like giving yourself permission to just go with what feels good. And it might not look the same to everybody. Y'all have like, y'all are the perfect side projects. Like you guys just go in and like they're great consultants too. Go in, get things started, get things moving, and then you move on. Like great people to just like, get a project going and initiated, and then you move on to the next.
This gives me such permission to be who I am. I'm a manifesting generator.
Woo!
I once had a physician ask me, so what do you do for fun? And I'm like, yeah, we don't have enough time to talk about that. I have way too many things that I love to do. I just have so many. And it gave me, when I learned this about myself, it gave me like freedom to just do that. So thank
Yes.
you, human design, because I was
Well,
like, oh my,
absolutely. Because you don't have to be tied to one thing. Like, y'all are allowed to just follow your hearts. And your sacral energy, again, is like some of the most important things. Like, y'all have this drive and this passion and this energy that you get to pour into. So, like, why not fill up a bunch of different cups if that's what you have the energy for? And then making sure at the same time that you're also pouring it into yourself, like making sure that you're filling up your cup and not giving all of your energy away, right? Like making sure that generators and manifesting generators are still filling them up. And that's why listening to yourself is probably the most important thing that y'all be able to do, to give yourself that freedom of I get to be the authority of me, and I get to decide who gets my energy and what gets my energy and when that gets to happen in accordance to me. It's so beautiful.
best way to live.
Oh, it is. I love y'all so much. My partner's a manifesting generator as well. So again, if you have partners, friends, etc., that are manifesting generators, again, giving them a chance to respond, feeling that, allowing them to start to feel that yes and no, and then also allowing them to just run around. It's the best way I can describe it. Like allowing them to run off their energy. My partner tells me the story when he was little that his parents would run him around the yard to tire him out at the end of the day. So like giving generators and manifesting generators permission to like use their energy. Go and use your energy the way that y'all want to use it, because then you're going to sleep so much better. Like then you'll knock out and you're rejuvenated the next day.
Love
So
it.
like allowing it to just run through you is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Then we'll have our projectors, and I'm a projector. So being seen as a projector was probably like one of the most hands down to me. It was just one of the most transformative like things that has happened in my life. I was like, wow, like everything that I've been told doesn't apply to me. So projectors, like manifestors, we do not have a defined sacral center. So we are not energetic types compared to generators and manifesting generators, which means that we absorb a lot more. We are meant to be like the guides and make life more efficient. So they say that projectors are actually only meant to work 2 to 4 hours a day. That's like their productive time. And when I first heard that, I was like, wait, what? But then I realized, especially when I was working in corporate America, I'd get like all of my things done by noon. And then I'd just be like goofing off the rest of the day because all my things were done. And I'm like, damn, am I just not working hard? Am I just like not taking on like as much as I should be? And it's just projectors are meant to be really efficient. They're able to see really, really clearly. So like to bring, okay, I'm trying to think of a really good like metaphor for all these types. So projectors are like the lighthouse. They're able to see the tugboats, which is the generators and the manifesting generators, really clearly. So you're able to be like, hey, it'd be so great if you were able to do this, this, and this. And like really give that guidance and that wisdom because you have this elevated sight where you don't have to work so hard. We just get to see and we just get to help and guide, which is when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, I'm done. This is exactly what I've been wanting to do my entire life, is be able to like just share wisdom and use that. However, our strategy is to be invited. So I feel like growing up, I was like the queen of unsolicited advice. I'm like, y'all did not ask for my opinion, but let me tell you, I've noticed you have a pattern of this. You should probably stop doing this. And like, really, as much as maybe the person needed to hear that at the time, it's not always as well received. And so projectors, that being invited also does not mean that we have to wait to share by any means as well. It is just allowing ourselves to be seen. And when folks are ready for our wisdom and our magic, they're going to tap us in. It's just like, being tapped into the team. It's, hey, we could really use your help looking at this. And we're like, hell fucking yes. And we don't now have to worry about needing that validation or needing to be seen because our not self theme is bitterness. So when we're sharing these wisdom and like sharing our advice and our guidance, and people aren't really taking it seriously or giving it the time of day, that's when it's like, damn, like when are people going to just see me? Like when am I going to be listened to? We don't deal with that anymore. We don't wait for, we are not waiting and trying to convince anyone to come on our team, right? We just get tapped. Like we just get to genuinely be ourselves and be that guiding little lighthouse. And then when folks are ready, they'll tap us in. And then we know that we can share they know, like other people now know that like they know what they're getting. They're getting all of you. And when you don't have to worry about dimming your light or like wanting to fit in, like none of that, which is huge. So projectors are the little lighthouse, manifesting generators, and generators are the tugboats. And then the manifestors are like the actual light that's like in that lighthouse, right? Like they're the ones that are like lighting that fire. And then we have the reflectors that are holding like the giant mirror over like the entire scene. Reflectors are 1% of the population, which is crazy. Sandra Bullock is a reflector. And when I found that out, I was shocked because I love her.
My girl crush.
I love her. I love her so much. And I'm like, damn, you know what? That makes her such a good fucking actor, right? Because they don't have any activated energy centers. Like they are truly here to just experience life and reflect back just like the collective, like what we are moving through. So when you see a reflector and there's something about it, like they're reflecting you, like they're just simply giving you back like what you're giving them. And so it is like they are just here to let life surprise them. Their strategy is to flow with the moon. Like they are meant to wait a full like moon cycle in order to like really feel into what feels right for them. It is so beautiful. And their not self is disappointment. So when they're having certain expectations, instead of just like allowing themselves to just be present and just a clear, just I am just ready to be here and be surprised and just love the miracle of life. That is when the disappointment can start to come in. So like bringing ourselves back to the present, like reflectors really getting into their bodies and like just allowing life to surprise them. They are here to just amplify others and have discernment between what is theirs and what is others, because they are just absorbing everybody. So they get to go through life like really just allowing them to shine.
Yeah, and I can see why then being that would make a good actor, because you absorb all the things and then you reflect
Yeah.
it back. Oh
Yeah. She
my
just
gosh.
gets to dive into her character and just do it.
Yeah, she's so great. I just want to be friends with her. If you're listening, Sandra.
I know. I'm like, hit me up. So those are all of the types. Oh, I guess I completely forgot to talk about if you had partners for projectors and reflectors. So if your partner is a projector, just invite them, give them space to just have them be invited. Like ask them their perspective on certain things and their opinions, and ask them to just look at things with you and give them that a chance to use their voice and to share really what's on their heart. And reflectors, allowing them to simply be them, giving them space to really bring in that discernment of what is theirs and what is others, and just simply allowing them to take their time, because they're flown with the moon, baby. Like having them, like they're being able to track the moon cycle for them is huge. So being really supportive in that, like just allowing them to take their time will be huge. And
Oh,
those are the types.
that's great advice. Also, with when you have partners, and I'm sure other people too, non-romantic partners, like partners at work, I'm sure that it could make a huge difference. I remember, I think, pulling my own chart there, like for free, right? Can people
Oh
do?
yeah. You can go on like human design chart. There's so many different websites that you can go on. Jenna Zoe is a really big one. I also love Day Luna. They have a human design podcast and a book that I really love. And you look all this up and it'll show you. And granted, again, like when you look at your astrology chart and you're like, what is this? You're going to see a lot of different stuff when you pull up your
Yes.
human design chart. But knowing that you just get to pick, we can start with the basics, know your type, know your strategy, and then we'll get into authority. But knowing those three things, I feel like is a good baseline start. So you can start exploring like what this means for you. And yes, like when I found this out, like I looked up my parents, my brother, my boss, like I was looking up everybody. I did like a whole like human design presentation for my team that when I worked in corporate, and I broke out all of our human designs and I chatted about like how to best like work with each type. This is how we're all organized, and like now we get to know like these are the projectors on the team, like these are going to be like our efficient, get their eyes on a project and they're going to know exactly what to do. These are our generators, let them just get shit done in their own way. Manifesting generator, put a like you're allowed to spread them out, don't make them just be in the weeds on one thing. They can like spread their wings and touch a bunch of different projects and have it be really good. And manifestors, like honestly just like letting them do what they want to do, and truly just like letting them shine. Like just let manifestors do what they want to do. And they'll let you know when they need help.
I think there needs to be a t-shirt for that. I'm a manifester. I'm going to do what I'm going to do.
I'm gonna just let them be them.
That's
But yeah, it was great.
really fantastic in the corporate world, and like everything, everywhere there's a human. This sounds amazing, but I can see how in the corporate world, whoa, that would really create efficiency and morale, and whoa, that must be
Oh.
it's been amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. It was so fun. And because I think people just being seen in a different way and learning more about themselves, I feel is always a topic that people don't shy away from.
Right.
So allowing like a new tool to come in and have it be really fun and interactive. And it was a small team, so we all knew each other really well. So having those different light bulbs go off for different people, we're like, oh yeah, that's so cool. And it's, oh great, like I can just like spitball things off of you, and like you get to respond, and I just get to be, the enthusiastic, I'm ready when you need me, and you just tap me in when you see that like I'm gonna bring so much, like, how do I want to say this? I'm like losing my words.
Wisdom.
Yeah, like you already know I'm gonna be good at this. I don't have to prove it. So you just tap me in when you're ready.
So great.
And it's like great to just learn how to interact with people and different things.
It is. And so now you were going to talk about the next thing.
Yes. So now we'll get into authorities. So each of their type has a strategy, right? And so that's constant. But then depending on your authority, this is how you're meant to make decisions. And each type can vary in authority. To me, this is great because I feel like we always are, as we move through life, we are always making decisions. And I feel like the thing is said is like, oh, you'll know what's right for you. You'll know, like, you can make the right decisions, and et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like a lot of the time folks get stuck in, I don't want to make the wrong one. What is the right choice for me? And then we just won't make any decisions at all because we're so nervous about making the wrong choice. And I say that in quotes because, like, at the end of the day, is there really wrong choices? Like, we just need to make decisions, right? Like, we just need to make a step forward. And like, you always find your way back, right? Like, life is just experiences. And so your authority is how to make the most aligned. It helps you make the most aligned decisions for you. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 authorities that are the most common that I'll talk about today. We have emotional authority. I'm emotional authority. That means that we feel very deeply and we can trust that our feelings are ours, but that means that we have a wave and they might change. So giving ourselves enough time, like at least waiting 24 hours, but if we can wait even longer to really feel into our options and feel into and like allowing it to change, because it will. We might feel a certain way when we make a decision, like, oh yeah, I'll go to dinner with you. We're with them. It's a week ahead of time. They're like, oh, do you want to go get dinner? And we're like, yes, let's go. That sounds amazing. And then on that dinner, like, we're like, let's plan Bali. And I'm like, totally. And then you get home and you're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can take the time. I don't know if it's even a place I want to go to, but like we were so like in the moment amped with other people that giving yourself time and permission to take your time when it comes to making aligned choices and decisions will really, really benefit you. So like giving yourself time, moving through your emotional wave. And I won't get into it, but I mean, there's a bunch of waves. Like I have the second I hit my peak, I like plummet. I'm like, oh, like things are really great. I'm like loving life. And then like I'll hit like a disappoint, like something will happen and I'm just like, I'm disappointed. And so like I'm meant to like almost like reflectors with my emotional wave, keeping my expectations really like allowing life to really surprise me. And there's a bunch of different waves that emotional authorities have as well. So like really honoring your wave and honoring where you're at, like how you're feeling one day might not be how you're feeling the next. And that's completely fine. We're not meant to be like easy, breezy, steady, beautiful girlies all the time. We're allowed to change and we're allowed to move with our waves. So
That's another t-shirt. Honor your wave.
honor your wave.
You're full of the sayings today.
Oh my gosh, I should start a t-shirt company for human design. That'd be so fun.
But
But
now
yes,
30 seconds from now, you're going to be like, I don't know. That's
100%. It's like, actually, I'm not the best with design. I don't inventory. that seems like a lot. Sales tax. The idea is better than the reality. But yes, that's exactly what the emotional authority is. Like giving yourself time to really make your decisions and allowing yourself to feel really good. I like to say if I for 3 days, if I'm still waking up and feeling really good about something and it's still on my heart, that means I have like that's my green light. That's my go ahead. Like it's something that still is constant while everything else might be moving, but there's this one thing that still feels very there. Then we have sacral authority. So these are our generators and manifesting generators. You can also have a manifesting generator have emotional authority as well. Because sacral authority, these are folks with that light up sacral, like I talked about. So this is the gut reaction, listening in the moment and like getting that yes or no reaction, really feeling that in your body. And if you are a manifesting generator that has emotional authority, honoring what your gut feeling is and then just letting it play out a little bit and then just giving yourself that space. But for folks that do have that sacral authority, you're going to get that yes or no and just go with it. Like truly like trusting your body, trusting that this is meant for you. And as you continue to respond to things and feel into it, you can take your time and like you keep getting that yes, then you got it, right? So just trusting your inner wisdom. And we have splenic authority. We see this in a lot of projectors and manifestors as well. Splenic authorities is listening to your intuition, the whispers of the soul. This comes in really soft. And so it can, people with splenic authorities, I don't even really understand what this is, but it's almost like that whisper. It's listening to the voice that is just knowing, is so sure without that. It's the first thing that comes before that fear, like the ego starts to talk, the voice that is talking you out of this, like the voice that holds a lot of doubt and fear, it is just a knowing. And so it is trusting in your knowing, your innate, clear knowing is your splenic authority. Like these people are like on another level. Like they're just so wise, like their instinct, like truly trusting your instincts, like letting yourself be like a cheetah in the jungle. Like they know exactly what to do, they know where to go, like they know exactly how to hunt. Like it's letting your instincts like really run the show and just guide you through life. It's beautiful. It's incredible. And then projectors have a lot of self-projected authority, meaning that their G center, which I know we didn't get into the centers, but like y'all will understand when you look at your chart, is lit up, meaning that they are meant to speak out loud. Like they need a soundboard. So like allowing yourself to talk through a decision, even if it's like out loud in your room, just like talking out loud. What if it's this way? What if it's that way? Letting yourself like just, and you hearing yourself move, like going through all of your choices, you'll know. Like you'll know exactly where you need to go. Like you'll almost just talk yourself either in or out of whatever you need to make. And allowing yourself to have either if it's just talking to you or a sounding board, like a trusted person that's just going to let you speak, not necessarily because like we don't want to get it to confuse where all of a sudden then because you know people just want to help, so then they're giving their advice and their opinion. But people with self-projected authorities really just need to talk themselves into it or out of it. Like they just need to talk it out. And so finding either a trusted person or just like letting yourself just speak
I meet a
to
lot
you.
of these in my work. Yes, people just need to talk. And it's great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to watch the process even.
Yes. Because like, you know, it's so funny. We know a lot of our own answers. We already know the decision that we're going to make. And like the second that you finally put a voice to it, and you allow yourself to just speak, and the other person doesn't even need to say anything, and then they're just like, okay, thanks. It's so clear. It's so clear. You just know. So we have two more. We have mental authority. These are also projectors when only their ajna is lit up. And these are folks that they can intellectualize. Folks with this authority, just give them time to process and seek different environments to help stimulate. So it's like walking outside and being in nature and letting them just think about their different choices while in different places so they can really start to feel clear about how they want to move forward. They're meant to intellectualize. And so sometimes to help with a decision, say if you work from home or you're typically in an office or you're around certain people, allowing them to get out of their current environment to come to decisions. So these like maybe like going on a walk or going on a drive and allowing just whatever you're working through to come up and see how it's starting to process and come through. Just allowing yourself that space to really get out of your environment and just move yourself through your process. You don't necessarily need to ask others for their advice or permission, but it's almost like getting out of your own way, like seeking out a new space that feels really clear. Because sometimes if we're in the same environment for mental authorities, like it feels very stagnant. There's no movement. So getting yourself out and somewhere new can really help like freshen up the environment, coming back into your own energy, because they have a lot of open centers. So it really helps clear out anyone else's energy so you can become really clear in what you're moving through and what you're moving towards. And then we have lunar authority, which I talked about before, but these are folks that are reflectors. They wait an entire moon cycle, which I know sounds wild because that's 28 days, but really just seeing it through, like giving yourself time and seeing yourself evolve with the moon and like allowing yourself to flow with it, like being that like creative flow, like feeling in that new moon, going all the way into that full moon, like allowing it to just, and then back to the new moon, like allowing yourself to just move through that flow and giving yourself time to change, because you continue just like the moon in its phases. It gets fuller and then it empties back out. And so allowing yourself to get really full and then emptying back out again so you can feel really clear. You're like, okay, like I feel really clear on this. Like, this is what I'm going to go do. And
You
those are the
know,
authorities.
that's awesome. If anybody is like me, they are identifying people in their life. Aha, that's why that person behaves the way they do. Aha, that's why that person is that way. I'm thinking
It's
about,
a huge eye opener.
yeah, yeah, it's so great. So, okay, and this is just like tip of the tip of the tip of the iceberg with human design. Now, as you said, when folks go to get their free human design, it's like a literal an astrology fits. It looks like a human being, like a body, and there are all these channels and like open centers and what I don't even know the words are.
Yeah.
But so when people come to you for a reading, what can they expect? Do they need to have specific questions, or are you able to just tell them what's in their chart, or how does that work?
Yeah, I like to go over the framework, right? Because we don't want to overwhelm. I feel like sometimes human design can be a little overwhelming. So I like to work through a process. I used to do just one-off readings, but now I only really do human design and a mentoring program just because it's meant to be an experiment. They say it takes 7 years to live in your design and fully decondition from the world. Granted, I'm not saying work with me for 7 years, but it really is. It's something that you get to play with. I really am an advocate of not having astrology or human design be the excuse for you not doing things or too much identifying. So I invite folks to have this be an experiment. So we start with their type and it's okay, like, how does this work in your life right now? Like, how does this make you feel to start responding or informing? And then we work into the authority. Like, okay, this came up for me. and I'm moving through decisions. What would happen if I just waited a little bit instead of feeling the need to respond? It's like working through, like, you start to notice the deconditioning of, oh, I'm a recovering people pleaser, for example. So I felt like I always used to need to respond right away because I just wanted to jump in and help, and instead taking my time. And then there's all these different gates, like you said, there's different gates and channels, and those are even a deeper understanding of, oh, this is what I feel like when I feel really balanced. And this is where, like, my heart is really calling, like, I'm innately meant to just have these gifts. Like, this is such an innate gift that I have. And that kind of gets into all of your little gifts and talents that you're meant to really bring into this world and embody as you move through your life. You have a profile, which there are different lines, and those are also how you're meant to just experience this lifetime. And yes, you have all these centers, which are either defined or undefined, and that helps determine your type. And it also helps you understand, like, where you're absorbing or emitting energy. And it just kind of just helps you get in the swing. We can find out what type of, I love to focus on the environment for some reason. That has just been really interesting to me, like finding out, like, because you can bring your environment into anything. Like, my environment is caves. And at first I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I wanted it to be like
Fiji.
mountains. Yeah. Like, I wanted it to be like the ocean or something. Like, what do you mean a cave? And for me, caves is like, okay, like, I'm very secure. Like, I love having my little space, and there's one way in and there's one way out. And I like to know who's coming in and coming out of my space. And so it's like, then creating my office around, oh, I can see the entry points and the exit points of my space. I have control of who's coming in and out. I love feeling that security and making it feel like me, like bringing pieces of me into my space. For folks that are shores, like having maybe in their office, having that view outside where they're looking at two different worlds, right? There's the shore, the shoreline, the sand, and then the vastness of the ocean. Incorporating these ideas into your everyday to make you feel really comfortable, like making you feel like you can operate at your best, so then you can make your most aligned decisions and feel your most at home and most at ease. And so I use human design now, like in my own healing mentorship work, because to me, like, it's, as I'm sure you've experienced in your reading, like, you can get a reading and then you're like, oh my God, like, how do I integrate all of this? And integration is really huge for me. So that's why I really like to walk people through it and let them experiment with it. And then we can continue, like, week by week, just like diving a little bit deeper and like allowing, because then I have my healing work. So then we're deconditioning. We're seeing, oh, I was scared to share my voice because in the past, it just didn't work out for me. So informing feels really scary. I feel scared to inform because I don't want to feel rejected and I don't want to feel isolated. And so we work through those blocks and we work through the different things that can start to come up for folks that are now experimenting with their human design and experimenting with this new way of living.
That's so cool. And I love how you call it deconditioning, right? That is healing. That's
Yeah.
so amazing. I love it. So, okay, where is the best place for folks to find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Spirits Unbound. You can also go to my website, spiritsunbound.co. But those are my two places. So follow me on Instagram.
Perfect. You have a
I'd love
lot
to
of wisdom
connect.
to share. Thanks so much for
Oh, thank you. It was
being
so
willing
great to be
to
here.
thanks so much for being willing to do take two.
Oh my gosh, always.
Maybe we'll
I
have a
love human
take three and
design.
four.
Oh, I know we can go in. I mean, that's the thing about human design. You can really go into it.
I know. And I just from having the one reading, you're right. It's like what do I do with all of this information besides just soak in that I really feel seen? Like, what? This is actually.
Yeah, you're like, oh my God, now that's how I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, like now what do I do?
Yep.
And so I love having that more intimate container that I'm here for you to walk this walk with you together. We don't have to just have this and then we don't know what to do with them. I love integration. I'm so big on it. And so like giving folks time to digest and experiment with it and have someone hold space for them as they figure out what they're doing, you know?
Create a sense of safety and security. Like
Yeah.
someone out there knows how to handle all this. So yay.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's a
everyone,
journey.
go find Megan right now.
Yeah.
She's so great. You are so great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm hoping you got a useful nugget or two from today's podcast episode. May you be well, and I'll see you next time.